We have Olympic gold medalist curler Tyler George here in the 10,000 Takes SodaStream studio. So Tyler, it's great to have you on here. You are a 3-time national champion, Olympic gold medalist. You've won the gold medal in 2018 in curling in PyeongChang. I know a lot of people were watching that, and it was a really exciting moment, not only for the sports community, but also for the United States. Give us kind of a rundown of that Olympic Games and how everything came to be.
Well, we didn't start particularly strong, but that was kind of our hallmark over the 4 years that we played together. All 3 world championships that we played in leading up to the Olympics, we started 2 and 3. So we were used to being behind the 8 ball, and we made the playoff round in each of those worlds too. So as strange as it was, starting poorly kind of put us in a comfortable position because it was something we were used to. So you just kind of look at the rest of your games and say, we know the spot that we're in. If we can beat Canada this next game after we started 2 and 4, then everything changes, because that's the team that we looked at as the best in the world. Mm-hmm. So if you beat them that one game, that one time, then you never know what can happen. So we played loose and relaxed for that particular game. And after we came out on top, then it changed our mentality about the rest of the week. We started having more fun. We were more like ourselves. And we decided that no matter how the rest of that tournament went down, we were going to try to put our sport in the best light we could and show people our personalities and really engage people so that they'd enjoy curling. So no matter what, if our week ended in the round robin or the playoffs, then we get to take people along for the ride and have a good time with it. And it turns out when you're having fun, you play a lot better. So that's the way it went the rest of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Is the gold medal pretty heavy?
It's extremely heavy, actually. They told us they think they're the heaviest in Olympic history. They're a little less than 1.5 pounds each, I believe.
Really?
And that's a lot heavier around your neck than you would expect too. It doesn't sound like that much weight, but those things are bricks.
Yeah.
And they're also the world's greatest coaster too. We've used them for those quite a few times. So you win one like that, you can do whatever you want with the thing.
Well, yeah, it's like the Stanley Cup. They drink cereal out of it, or they eat cereal out of it. They drink beer out of it. You use the gold medal as a coaster. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. I was quoted in the New York Times saying that it's the world's greatest coaster. So I caught a little flack for that, but again, I mean, then you can do whatever you want when you
earned it, though.
Yeah, that's right.
Whatever they think. I mean, I guess it was that championship game was pretty late at night from what I remember. And I was watching it with a bunch of buddies in my fraternity house, and we were so fired up during that entire thing. I remember everyone was coming downstairs, like, what's everyone yelling about, at this time of night? And we're like, the U.S. is about to win the gold medal in curling. And kind of with, like the hockey team wasn't doing so hot. And, we just had, it was awesome to have something to cheer for, especially getting to the championship rounds. So, back in the States, the experience of watching that gold medal game were awesome. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's not something that you really understand how big an effect it has until you get home too, or until after the gold medal game. Like, we could tell that people were really coming along for the ride and they were enjoying watching our run. And you just don't get the sense of how big it is until it's over though. And I mean, we had Mr. T and Dan Jansen calling in for pep talks before the gold medal game. You got celebrities tweeting at you. None of these things that we're really used to either.
Yeah.
But you don't realize how big a thing it is outside of your own sport until it's over with. And I'm really glad we didn't know. It probably would have made things a lot more difficult while we were playing.
Oh, you would have been so much more nervous if you would have known what could have been if, it would have come down to every single round at that point, and the nerves would have hit.
Yeah, we were kind of oblivious at the time. Like, we knew how big it was for our sport, but we didn't know how it would change our lives afterwards too. The way that things were different back home, the doors that open up, the opportunities you get, and the opportunity that you have to promote your sport too. And until you get back and until you're enveloped in all that, you feel a groundswell of support while you're there, but you just don't know. Like, you can't have any idea unless you've been there before. And we hadn't, not in that position.
Where are we here? What was the whole...
Just reading right off the iPad, yeah.
Well, I can't read this little print.
Here, you take it then.
What was the whole, like, Olympic Village like? You said the rumors are true. Is it really like that?
the rumors of the partying, you know, and it's one of those things that we all know, but what's it really like to be in Olympic Village for a few weeks? I mean,
the village itself it's incredible. Just walking around it and seeing all the other world-class athletes all the time. A lot of those guys look like a different species than the rest of us. And being able to cross paths with them and, see some of the world's most famous athletes too. A lot of us are amateurs that aren't all that well known at the time, but a lot of them are people that are extremely well known, and being on the same plane with those athletes is really cool. And then what you're referring to with the end of the Olympics, when everybody's kind of going crazy and partying.
Yeah.
We didn't really get to experience that completely because we were so busy. Besides that, we played, I think it was 11 games in 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
We still, once we won, our time was locked up. We were doing media stuff nonstop from the time we walked off the ice in the medal ceremony to the time we hopped in the shuttle to go back home. And then for the next couple of weeks afterwards too. It was just absolute craziness, but it was all kind of going on around us, all the, I'm trying to think of the right word to use for the podcast here, as opposed to, like all the dirty stuff that was going on there. It's a meat market, right? I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. Everything that people talk about, it's pretty much true, but we really didn't get to be a part of that much just because we were so busy. And I was the only single guy on the team. Everybody else is married. So,
yeah.
I mean,
so it's not like you guys were going out and hitting the town, I mean, together as a team, but and what I always wondered is how, I mean, it's, we hear that about all these world-class athletes and, that the way they take care of their bodies, but then you hear about like the partying and the drinking, and it's like, you wonder how people like fit that into their schedule of, I mean, it seems kind of like a bold move, but I guess, you're there just trying to have some fun and enjoy the experience. So I guess that part of it makes sense,
the vast majority of it is when athletes are done with their competitions.
Okay.
There's not very much of that going on while they're competing. So you're on a regimen, and a lot of the athletes, they're there for 2 weeks, but they're done in a couple of hours. For us, we're playing for almost 2 weeks straight, but for a bunch of them, they're done in the first couple of days, and then they have the rest of the time to go watch other sports and have fun with it and enjoy the experience, especially if you win a medal. I mean, then you're on top of the world and you get to experience the Olympics with nothing else to do but just enjoy it. And for us, in a team sport where you play that many games, that's not the case. Our gold medal game was the day before the closing ceremonies. Mm-hmm. So we didn't really get to see too many other sports or have a whole lot of fun out there outside of what we were doing because we had a job to do. But we did get to see short track speed skating and the USA-Russia hockey game, which was like a college atmosphere.
Oh,
short track speed skating, it's like white-collar NASCAR. Like, it's crazy. You're waiting for the crash at all times, and it's probably going to happen. But it was really, really entertaining in person, too. I definitely would have gone to more of that if we had a chance.
It's got to be amazing to see how fast those guys fly around the rink, like in person. I mean, I know with, the motion tracking of cameras, it's one thing on TV, but speed skating is always something I've wanted to see in person. I would definitely put it in perspective. When you got back, did you find your neck was always sore because of the photo shoots and because of the media things, just from always having that medal on your neck?
Yeah, we let other people wear them probably more than we should have.
Yeah.
And now the ribbon and the bar that connects the ribbon to the medal have the wear and tear that show how much we shared those things. But that's what makes it fun. You get to share it with everybody. You get to share it with your country. Our saying when we got back was that they're America's medals. We're just the ones that get to take them home at night. Mm-hmm. So somebody asked to hold it or wear it or whatever, we tried to be gracious with that. Or if somebody wanted a picture or just a moment of your time, especially for guys like us that we never had that type of attention before. You get to your 30s and something like that happens, you're kind of rooted in who you are as a person by that point. You're not changing who you are just because you accomplish something or because people treat you differently. Mm-hmm. You'd like to think that if it happened as a teenager in your early 20s, it'd be the same way. But think about how different you are now compared to 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think for us, it was cool because we got to still be ourselves and the same guys that we were through the whole run when we came back home. And I think that's a big reason why people gravitated towards our team even during the Olympics, is because they see us as regular everyday guys, and that's really who we are. And that hasn't changed since the games. We get looked at differently or treated differently by people, but that doesn't really have anything to do with how you handle it. So yeah, getting to share that experience with people and let them hold the medal, take pictures, tell stories about the games. That's what makes it fun for us. And doing something like that gives you a platform to grow your sport and promote it at the same time as share the experience with your countrymen. And all of us took that very seriously while not taking ourselves very seriously at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and just with everything there, what you guys did for the sport of curling, I know it's one of those things now where people thought about curling a lot more after you guys brought home the gold. And definitely makes people more likely to tune into curling next Olympic Games, because people have their list of sports that they're going to make sure that they tune in for. But now that you guys are defending champions for the 2022 games, curling is definitely going to be now on people's list of things that they definitely want to see following up a gold medal. Another question I had for you too is, from going to like the national title games to the Olympic stage, I know you kind of went into nerves. Did you see like a much bigger spike in your nerves when it came to being on the world stage? Because making that leap from a national championship level to a world level has got to be just incredibly nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it's funny. I mention this all the time, that we really weren't that nervous at the Olympic Games themselves. Where the nerves really hit was the Olympic trials, because we were the top team in the country for 3 years running, far and away the top seed. The number 2 team was a very good team, but we felt like it was our spot. And John Schuster had been to 3 Olympic Games already, but he felt like he had a lot of unfinished business because of the 2010 and 2014 games when he was a skip. And John Landsteiner had been there the previous games with him too. But for myself and Matt, we'd never been there before. And I'd been in 3 Olympic trials without winning. So I just wanted to get there. Anything that happened after that, I was good with it. But that was the tournament that made me the most nervous by far. The World Championships, I really didn't get that nervous. The national championships, again, not that big a deal. But the trials themselves, that was where we really had to collect ourselves and try to stay focused on what we're doing and stay in our routines and everything. The Olympics just felt like another tournament to me, honestly. Once I was there and I had that weight off my shoulders, it wasn't nearly as much the pressure of the tournament as it was finally the opportunity to show the world what you can do.
Yeah.
And I'd been waiting for that my whole life. And I was really excited to play in that tournament. And I'd like to tell you how we were able to do that, why we were able to focus on the games the way we were and not be affected by the moment. But it's just one of those things that when you talk to each other for 4 years about prepping to play 2 games.
Yeah. Well, that's unreal to think about.
Yeah, and that's how we handled every tournament we played, is we always looked at it as preparation for the medal round of the Olympics. Even the World Championships, it's just a prep tournament for us. The goal was always to get on the podium in South Korea. And when you hype that over and over again and you finally get there, then you look around and say, hey, this is what we prepared for. We can't be any more ready to play in these games than we are, because this was the plan all along. The highest we finished at the World Championships was 3rd, but the lowest we finished was 5th. So we were always in the hunt, and the 5th place here was a tiebreaker we lost to get into the Final Four. So we'd been in the playoffs at the Worlds. All these teams that we're playing against at the Olympics, we played against on tour and at the World Championships. None of it was new. So it's not like you get to the Olympics and it feels like a completely different sport or tournament. It just feels like a curling tournament. So, it's kind of like the Hoosiers line, where the hoops are 10 feet tall. The length of the gym is the same as it is in our gym back home. That's how you feel about playing on the ice at the Olympics, or at least it should be if you're going to win. And we were just comfortable over there, even before the gold medal game. I think we were honestly more nervous for the semifinal than we were for the final.
Really?
The semis were playing against Canada, and that's the team that until the last game we played them before the Olympics, that particular Canada team, we'd never beaten them. We were 0-8 against them. and we beat them in one of the major tournaments, one of our Grand Slams, right before the Olympics. So we're 1-8, but now we beat them 1 in a row. So we get to the Olympics, we beat them in the round robin. Now we got 2 in a row against these guys. But to us, they were still the best team in the world, even though Sweden was ranked number 1. We get to the final, we're playing the Swedes. You know, people don't talk about our record against those guys going in because they don't know. But in the 5 games that we played against them in the 2 years leading up to the Olympics, we were 4-1. We were their kryptonite. We were the last team they wanted to see. So when we got to face them, if you'd have told us before the tournament we're playing Sweden for gold, we said, well, then we're standing on top of the podium. We're going to beat those guys again.
Yeah, well, and I mean that almost kind of reminds you of like the 1980 Olympic hockey team. You know, that semifinal, that game against the Russians was, you know, they were kind of the team they were worried about, and then once they felt that they could take them down, it was less nerve-wracking and not as big of a deal in the championship. So, you know, it's kind of funny how the Olympics can work out like that. You know, there might be that one team that you know you need to overcome, and then once you can actually do that, then it feels more like smooth sailing. But as much as I'd love to keep talking Olympics, we got to dive a little bit into alcohol because, you know, last night we had an after dark thing. Jake was actually asleep on that couch right there. We were taking shots for people who were donating. It was a lot of fun.
I heard some rumors. I'm sad I missed out on that one.
Yeah, well, if we have another one, you'll have to join us next time. But
all right, you got it.
You're from Duluth, and I know your family runs a liquor store, correct, up there? I believe
that is correct.
George's
yes.
Liquor.
Yep, you got it.
So what Tyler is your alcohol of choice as a someone who's in the industry?
I'm a bourbon guy now. I kind of grew into that in my 30s. When you're younger, you don't really care that much about what you're drinking, just whatever's in front of you. But
whatever's cheap.
I'd like to think I've matured now. Yeah. But,
yeah.
No, I if I could get a bottle of Blanton's. That's my favorite bourbon. I mean, it's really hard to get out here in Minnesota, but really, really good stuff. Don't have to really break the bank for it. But I got a couple of bottles in storage right now that I'm saving up for a rainy day. And I told you guys before we came on, too,
yeah.
I'm big into Japanese whiskey now, too. And I picked up a bottle of Yamazaki single malt for my housewarming for myself in a couple of weeks. So that's going to be one I probably sip on for a bit and make last a while. But yeah, the finer things with those. It's not that I'll turn down a White Claw or something like that.
Yeah, can't ever turn down a claw in the summertime. I think that probably is going to come to a shock from a lot of people, at least from me, that Japan makes bourbon. I didn't and you said that whiskey coming from Asia is kind of a newer thing showing up. That's actually really interesting to hear, though.
Yeah, it's only been around maybe a decade or so in the United States. It's been big over there for quite a while, but yeah, it's not cheap. But if you're looking to treat yourself with, it tastes more like Scotch than regular like Canadian whiskey, but it's definitely like a hybrid flavor. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I love the stuff. It's just not something you're going to have on a regular basis because it's not the cheapest stuff in the world. But yeah. For a nice occasion, if you guys are looking to spruce things up a little bit, I definitely recommend Japanese stuff and Taiwanese stuff too, if you can find it. Which is
really okay,
but also very good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more of a Fireball guy, and then you mentioned growing up. I think I still need to kind of go through that phase because my college days of Fireball still following me around here. So
you'll get there. Fireball will wear you out. You can't drink that stuff forever. You'll mature into other stuff.
Well, and the funny thing is all my friends are like, "Oh, I can't drink that. I've had too many bad experiences," and I've had plenty of bad experiences with it. And like I still love it. It hasn't worn off on me yet. So tequila can't do it. Vodka and get all that away from me. But Fireball, I mean, it's what I love. It's weird, but yeah, I feel like I'm gonna
give it time.
I'm gonna grow out of it
It'll
too.
change.
Yeah. All right, Tyler, before we go here, we're running short on time. We want to give you our signature bit here at 10,000 Takes called the Rapid Fire segment. We're going to put a minute on the clock, and we're going to ask you 10 or so really funny kind of would you rather type questions. So are you ready to do the Rapid Fire?
All right, let's go.
All right, let's do it. Would you rather spend the rest of your life blind or in an Olive Garden?
Ooh, Olive Garden, I think. That's a tough one, but yeah. I still want to see things. Yeah, they got a lot of wine. I could survive.
Yeah, they got a lot. Well, yeah, that's what we said. People ask, "Is there a TV?" We always say yes. Can my family visit? Yeah. Of course. Unlimited breadsticks and salad. and the liquor.
I'd be a pretty
good
host, and I'd probably order pizza from there anyway. So
yeah. That's true though. No one's ever mentioned you could technically order in other food as long as you don't leave the property.
Yeah.
So that's actually smart. I didn't think of that. If you were given an all expenses paid trip to Cleveland, would you take it?
Absolutely. I actually like Cleveland. I got some buddies out there. I've spent a lot of time in that area, so I'd take it in a heartbeat. We do some damage downtown there.
What's the official terminology? Hot dish or casserole?
Hot dish.
Yeah.
Has to be.
If a movie was made about your life, who would play you?
I've gotten Edward Norton a lot. So maybe not so much with the beard now, but that one's been repeated quite a bit. And that was even before the Olympics. So yeah, and we are actually doing a movie. We think
it's going
to happen sometime in the next year or two. We're hoping, but we'll see. I'll keep you guys updated.
Yeah,
on that.
Keep us updated. That sounds actually pretty awesome for sure. So yeah, funny story that now the question we just asked you could actually be a very relevant. Your answer to that could be very relevant. Interesting. Okay. Would you rather have your head be the size of a tennis ball or that of a watermelon?
Ooh, man. I got to say tennis ball. You're going to whack your head on stuff all the time as a watermelon.
Yeah. Well, other answers were people that were trying to, like, get something under the couch. They're like, I'm not going to be able to, like, see. I'm just going to have to use my hand.
Did anybody say watermelon?
Actually, quite a few guests said watermelon. Tennis ball has been I think you're one of 3 people to say tennis ball.
Huh. Well, that doesn't make much sense to me. That seems really awkward to have a watermelon head.
Yeah. Minneapolis or St. Paul, which city do you prefer?
Oh, man, that's tough. There's so many things I like about both. I'm going to go Minneapolis just because I think the food's a little better.
Okay.
But the sports scene, like, really underrated low-key in St. Paul. Like, if you're going to watch a game or hang around XL or whatever, like, that scene is great. I love Eagle Street in that area, whatever. But yeah, for food and just more experiences, wider range of things to do, I got to stick with Minneapolis.
All right. Yep. Fair enough. In self-defense, how many 5th graders could you take on at one time?
Oh man, I'm really scrappy. So I think you could send about 30 of them at me. I think I could still take them.
That's probably a full-size class. All right, fair enough.
You just got to chuck the first ones that get through, and then the rest are afraid.
You know? Yeah, well, we've also heard of others picking them up by their feet and kind of doing like a spin in a circle type
I thought of that right away.
That's a pretty common strategy. Would you rather always be wearing a shirt that's kind of itchy or a pair of shoes that has a small pebble in it?
Oh, God, both those things sound terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll go with the pebble.
Pebble? Okay.
It's probably because I got a lot of sunburn right now from yesterday, and I have been itching a lot, and I don't want to deal with it anymore. So
yeah,
I got just charred yesterday, like a true northern Minnesotan on the first really warm day.
You spent the whole day outside?
Too much of it, definitely. Yeah. It's been painful today.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at least we have nice weather. That's a plus. What's more realistic, ghosts or aliens?
Oh, aliens by far.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's aliens out there for sure. The universe is too big not to be. So
yeah,
I would say aliens are actually likely to exist. There you go. I'm going on record saying it.
All right, he's on the record, folks. Tyler George. You have one sport to watch for the rest of your life. What sport is it?
Oh, college football.
College football. Okay.
It's just the most exciting consistently. You can watch 2 schools that you don't know a single guy out there, and the crowd's always amped, and the players are always playing like their lives depend on it.
It's the atmosphere for sure.
Yep.
All right, Tyler. Well, we've reached time. We've really appreciated talking to you. This has been a lot of fun, kind of hearing your experience as an Olympian athlete, especially one who has won the gold medal. We want to remind you guys to donate www.10000takesmn.com/soda-stream to donate. I know we were just $32 short of $1,500 before we started this. And what? Oh, now we're only $22 short. So awesome, guys. We just want to thank everyone who's been hanging out throughout the weekend. And Tyler, we want to thank you for coming on. We'll definitely have to talk again soon because this has been a lot of fun.
Happy to do it, guys. Anytime you want to have me on, let me know. I got a lot of time right now.
Yeah, for sure. We'll keep in touch.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys. Good luck with everything.
Yeah, you bet. See you, Tyler.
All right, take care.